Welcome to the HCCTV studios at Houston Community College. I'm Todd Duplantis. Joining me now is Chris Bourne, our Chief Broadcast Engineer. We're very excited about this. This is our new hybrid TV podcast studio where we do both here. And Chris, you're really the mastermind in bringing all this together. We first started talking about this several months ago, back in January, and I had some challenges for you. I wanted this to be completely different, and let's talk about how you got to where we are in the research you did behind it.
Well, we first started looking after you brought up the vision of what was out there. And we kept coming back to a certain system that has been branded under different manufacturers, but is currently a JVC Pro HD podcast system. And after I hear the same message from three different searches, I start to think maybe this is a direction that we should go.
Right.
So we pursued all the questions that we had in terms of its feasibility for what we needed to do, and found that it would be a good match. And we linked up with a local vendor, and had them put together a package for us, and then we modified it, and here we are today.
Now, this system, it was when you first showed it to me, this was made for sports broadcast, and it's using robotic cameras. Maybe you can describe, because we're doing more than just a podcast in here. We're doing a television production, and that's kind of what the system was made for?
Yeah, you can take the TV out of the television broadcaster, but you can't take the knack to do a full-blown production out of a television broadcaster, even if you give them a podcast studio. So we've enhanced it. We're doing a lot of the graphics that our graphic artists and videographers do, and they do a great job with animation and things like that. So it won't just be your typical podcast that comes up with a slate or a still image and maybe some music like Between Two Ferns or something like that. But,
which is a great podcast,
which is
by the
good,
way.
yeah. We have some great talent too, and that's
Sure.
what we're really hoping to let the equipment support the talent. And we do have some state-of-the-art PTZ, pan, tilt, and zoom cameras, as well as some other processing equipment that we hope will make the workflow really efficient.
And we have, speaking of efficient, because we want to move some of our TV shows in here because we can use a lot less crew. When we're putting together a show in the broadcast studio, we'll have people on cameras. We'll have, 4 or 5 people in the control room doing everything from audio to switcher to controlling the teleprompter. But in here, it's kind of back to a one-man band because you've got it set up where one person can control all that.
That's right. It's still not magic. It still takes some knowledge and some effort and some expertise, but it is a lot less heavy lifting by a lot less people, and it allows us to do a lot more.
And it's as far as doing a lot more, we're going to be adding some new shows. And we talked about migrating the current shows, and really interview style shows can be easily done in this studio, especially when you've got the interviewer, 2 subjects, and we may be adding another camera and microphone here in the future.
Yeah, we'll turn this into a full-blown Hollywood production set after a while. But that's really the trick, is to figure out when it needs to be in the big full studio, which we have several, or when it makes more sense to do the podcast. And a lot of the shows that we do make more sense to be in a podcast studio.
And the shows, when we're talking podcast, it's going to go across several formats. We'll have it on YouTube. The show will be broadcast here on HCCTV. It'll be on iTunes in the future. We'll also have it on Spotify and several social media outlets, so you can look for all the shows there. Now, the shows that we're starting, new ones, we've got a show that's a story behind the story, which looks at Houston history over the past 20 years. We've got a Voices and Words show. We've got one called 50 Years and Counting, which is going to involve the HCC 50th anniversary. And that was really a big deal in getting this approved by college administration, because they want to document a lot of the folks that are going here to HCC.
Yeah, this hopefully will be a lot more efficient and a lot easier for people to come in and sit down and do a show, as opposed to getting mic'd up and having to go through all the things that we do in a full-blown production in the big studio. And we're not the first to do this, but I think the timing is perfect. Yeah. The equipment has gotten to a point over the years where now we can get it for a reasonable price, and it's been tested and tried, and I think we're just in a real sweet spot to do this right now.
And just to give you an idea what the studio looks like, we've got this background here, which is a great shot of the Houston skyline. We can move this background out. We have another background that's built in the back. You'll see that for some shows, and it's lit up with the Houston skyline. We've got a monitor over here which you can put different shows on. We can show video on it in the future as well. And the neat thing about this type of broadcast is we can incorporate video, pictures, and sound as opposed to just doing a straight audio podcast.
Yeah, we're going to continue to develop the capabilities of the studio as we go through time, but starting out right now, I think we've incorporated a lot of the good aspects of doing a full-blown production into this podcast studio, and it's really encouraging to be doing something like this.
We hope to really get things launched in here over the next few weeks. You'll see a lot of new shows debut on HCCTV and across our social media channels. In the future, the idea is to have this open to faculty and staff. Chris is an adjunct faculty member here. It'd be great for him to get some of his students in here to do a show. And that's what we're looking at, to get those moments and to put them out there for you and really open this up across the college. So it's a new thing for us. Chris, you guys did a great job getting this started up, and we look forward to seeing more as to what we can do this in the future.
Yeah, it's amazing. Good stuff.
Thanks for joining us, and we, of course, will see you more right here on this channel, HCCTV. Thank you.